Here's a simple 5-minute explanation about tax sales. The property in the bottom right-hand corner was on a recent tax sale. The tax lien was $1,713. The property was worth $155,000. If you bought that lien, you'd write a check for $1,713 and give it to the county. The county would prepare a tax lien. In this state, it pays 24%, and they would send it to you. At the end of a year, let's assume the property owner decided to pay off his tax lien. Now, he's not going to write a check for $1,713. He's going to have to write a check for $2,124. That's your money plus 24% interest. He's going to send that to the county. The county, in a short period of time, generally 5 to 7 days, is going to write a check to you. That check is going to be for $2,124, and they're going to send it to you. Now, let's look at what happened here. You wrote a check for $1,713. You got a check back for $2,124 a year later. That's a $411 profit. Now, let's assume that the property owner didn't pay the lien off. If he didn't pay the lien off, let's review. You wrote a check for $1,713 and sent it to the county. They prepared a tax lien that was supposed to pay you 24%, but the property owner didn't pay it off. You now can get the property. To do that, you're going to write another check. Approximately $2,500. Will vary by state. You're either going to send that to the county, or in some states you may give it to an attorney. The county is going to prepare a deed on the property. That deed is going to be free of a mortgage or any other liens, and they're going to send it to you. When they send that deed to you, you're now the owner of the property. Now, let's assume you want to sell that property quickly, because that's what we wanted to do. The property's worth $155,000, but I want a quick sale, so I'm going to price it at 60% of that amount. I know I'll get a quick sale if I sell it at 60% of market. 60% of market is $93,360. That's a great deal for a buyer. The buyer is going to write me a check, and they're going to write me a check for $93,360. I'm going to give them a deed to the property that I got from the county, and the property's now the buyer's. Now, what's happened here? You wrote a lien for $1,713. You paid $2,500 to get deed to the property, so you invested $4,213. You sold the property for $93,360. You had a profit of $89,147. That's a huge profit. I mean, think of that type of profit. That's a 2,000% return on your money. Folks, there are only two alternatives, and both are winners. Either you're going to get your money back with a high return on your money, or you're going to get the property for a fraction of the price. Those are the only two alternatives. Now, let's take our investment, and let's see how secure it was. Now, refresh your recollection, we paid $1,713 to the county. They gave us a tax lien that paid 24%. But it didn't pay off. So effectively, we'd lent $1,713. What was our collateral? What secured our loan? It was a $155,600 market value piece of real estate. Our collateral was worth 90.8 times what we invested or loaned. By law, there are really only two alternatives, and both are winners. You either get a high interest rate set by law, or you obtain a valuable property debt-free with no mortgage. The property will be deeded to you free of all other mortgages or liens, with the exception, in a very few cases, of special assessment liens, which tend to be quite small. Let me give you an example of a special assessment lien. Those of you who live in Southern California, you've probably driven out in the valley and you've seen that aqueduct that brings water down from the Sierras. That was financed through the 1918 Water Bond Act. And there's a special assessment lien on basically most of the properties there that have paid for that Water Bond Act. That special assessment lien is about $18 a year. Most special assessment liens are extremely small. Let me give you a hypothetical of what this can mean to you. And yeah, I'm going to use $500 liens here, but the same concept would apply if they were $100 liens or $50 liens. Let's assume you invested $10,000 in 20 $500 liens. 19 of them redeemed in exactly 1 year and paid you 24% interest. Those 19 liens would return $11,875 to you. So you're $1,875 ahead just from those 19 liens. One lien doesn't redeem. Now, we're saying $500 liens, so it's going to be not quite as nice a property as the example I gave you with the $1,700 lien. Let's assume you made $30,000 on the property. You would have made $31,875 on a $10,000 investment. That's huge. There are very, very few places where you could come anywhere near to making that kind of money, and all of them would have a lot more risk than tax lien.